Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's poppin', my friendonies? Welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon. I got my boupele.
I was going to say you need that, or else we can't start the show.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Love the bubbly. Anyway, welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast once again. Today, we're going to bring you our starts and sits for Week 3. Week 3 starts and sits for Week 3. Fantasy football starts and sits Week 3. Any way you can say it for the YouTube algorithm would be great. But anyway, we're going to give you the best starts for Week 3 and sits for Week 3 and try to guide you to your fantasy goodness this week. Hopefully we helped you last week have success in that department. Anyway, check our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, @TheFFChamps, Instagram, @TheFantasyChampions, Facebook.com///TheFantasyChampions. Check us out over there. TikTok, you got @TheFFChamps. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcast platforms, leave a review, share this pod with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like, and then comment down below Fantasy Football Week 3. I don't know if that'll work. Does YouTube
make sure
search
you leave
by
a comment saying that Morgan sucks?
Yeah, leave a comment that says I suck, huh?
We'll
I got straight. We were in the Fantasy Champions League. I got straight roasted by someone.
Oh, you got roasted by 3 people, actually.
I scored 79 fantasy points and won in a PPR league with 3 flexes.
There's 2 flexes, to be fair. Oh, wait, is there 3? There is 3 flexes. Oh, boy.
Yeah. I won.
Yeah.
The other team scored 59.
That's
so
impressive.
I won by 20.
Just so you know, I scored 160. So.
Sucking egg, bro.
Anyway, I just had to say it.
So yeah, comment down below. Let's start our starts and sits for Week 3. Get this popping and get you out of here in a timely manner. Once again, Rick is going to leave me.
I am, yeah. I have to
for work because he's trying to be an adult, which sucks when you're talking about fantasy football. Anyway, so let's do the starts and sits for week. How did we do this last week? Do we do the quarterbacks or do we do starts and then sits?
I think we change it every week.
I don't know. I'm just gonna go starts
whatever
and
we're feeling
sits
that week.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So, at this point, do you feel like this guy should become an automatic start on a week-to-week basis, or do you feel like people are still kind of hesitant on starting him? It's Jalen Hurts.
I think, for the most part, you pretty much start him on a week-to-week basis. But if he had a horrible matchup, I would still consider. Like if Kyler Murray, Mahomes, if those 2 guys have a horrible matchup, you're probably still starting them, right?
Yeah.
With
you
Hurts,
don't know if he's matchup. He
falls into that next category where, if he has a horrible matchup, you might not want to start him.
Right. So
otherwise, you're starting him.
He's start of the week at quarterback for us. Right, start of the week, but we're going to tell you to start him this week. He's at Dallas. He had 21 fantasy points last week, and so for some people out there, I feel like a majority of people are like, okay, it's Dallas. They give up a lot of points. Last week they didn't against Justin Herbert, so that could be.
Their defense is not as bad as it was last year,
but it's still not good.
It's still not great. Yeah.
So anyway, for Jalen Hurts, I feel like as of right now, he's starting to become a week-to-week starter for me. I have to see him in a good matchup in order for me to determine whether a bad matchup for him in order to determine whether or not he would be a startable asset on a week-to-week basis, despite matchup, like you were saying with Mahomes and others. But anyway, he's got Dallas this week. Dallas is going to most likely this is going to be a game where they go back and forth. It's also a division matchup, and these 2 teams are probably fighting each other for the division at the end of the season. So I think it's going to be a good week for Jalen Hurts. Now, the big thing is people look at his totals last week and they're probably getting a little bit nervous because without a rushing touchdown and the 82 rushing yards that he had, he probably would have finished with 7 total fantasy points.
Oh.
Yeah, so passing, I think he has 191 passing yards, under just over 50% completion percentage. It was a bad week passing for him. Granted, that was against San Francisco. So the thing that excites me about Jalen Hurts is that even when he is not so great passing the football, somehow he still pulls a 21-point performance out of his pants.
82 yards rushing and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Literally just a running back.
So honestly, so 21 fantasy points from him, which is good. That's a good. If you're not in a 6-point touchdown league, that's really good. And so the thing that I see with Jalen Hurts is that he does provide that upside with his rushing. I think against Dallas, he's going to pass a lot better. And he's also going to provide that rushing floor of. I think since I saw a stat that said since he has started at quarterback for the Eagles, he has not rushed for under 60 yards. So yeah, he provides a good floor rushing. So even if he only scores 15 fantasy points through the air, he's going to get 6, most likely on the ground. There's a good shot. So yeah, Jalen Hurts at Dallas, great matchup, great start. Start him this week.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty easy one for most people, but there are a lot of people out there that are like, oh, Jalen Hurts, he's not even a starting quarterback. You see his statistics last week, he threw 12 completions on 190 yards. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great against San Francisco, but against Dallas, he just has to be okay in the passing game, and he's going to get 20-plus fantasy points. I mean, even then, we saw this past week, he wasn't even good, and he still got 20-plus fantasy points or 21 fantasy points just because of what he does on the ground. So, yeah, against Dallas in a potentially high-scoring game on a Monday night game, which does that worry you, or is that a good thing? I feel like that's probably a good
Thursday
thing.
night game. Usually.
A Thursday night game would worry you, but a Monday night game. Usually
this is on Monday night. Yeah, no, I'm not worried at all.
Yeah,
exciting.
Nights are usually,
I'm on the Thursday show still. I'm like, this game's on Thursday, bro.
Yeah. No, this game's Monday Night Football. Yeah. I think Hurts.
Not at all, dude. This is gonna be a shootout.
Exactly, it's gonna be a shootout. I think.
I hope I get 40.
Okay, well, let's relax.
I got Jalen Hurts in multiple leagues. I'm getting 40.
He's going to get, I think, 25 plus.
Yeah, 25 plus is probably a good bet. Hopefully, this is not like the Chargers-Dallas game where we were all expecting a huge shootout and Dak Prescott totaled 7 fantasy points. Thanks, Dak. Lost a league because of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, holding a grudge. We have Tyson Williams at running back. At Detroit, so another road game, but a good road game. If you watched the Monday Night Football game, and please tell me you did, not you, Rick, but the people at home, because I know you watched parts of it. Detroit can't stop the run.
No.
They couldn't stop Aaron Jones from scoring 4 touchdowns, and it was like every rush for Jones was pass catch or rush was like a gain of 8 yards.
To be fair, I think 3 of his touchdowns were in the air.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing is I was sitting there watching that game, and I had a clear bias against Aaron Jones because I was facing him in a league and I wanted him to not do so good so I could win. But Aaron Jones, it was clear in that game the only guy that they were moving the ball with was Aaron Jones, and that they needed to try to get the ball to him at all costs. And they really didn't do it much in the first half. Not that they didn't give him the ball much, because I think he scored 2 touchdowns in the first half, but they were trying to get the wide receivers involved, the tight end involved, and all of that stuff. And it took until later in the game, like beginning third quarter, for them to really just say, like, okay, the only guy producing for us is Aaron Jones. We're just going to give him the ball the whole time. And that's what they did. And it ended in a huge game for Aaron Jones. My point being, this week, Detroit gets Tyson Williams at the running back position. Williams, how many? Tell me the stats on him, because I know you got him pulled up.
Yeah. Do you want his rushing yards per carry this season? What it's been?
Yeah, sure.
Because against Vegas and the Chiefs, which both are not exactly difficult matchups, but they are harder than Detroit. I think he's rushing for over 6 yards a carry.
That
has a touchdown.
Baltimore backfield is good.
It's
I mean, not backfield, offensive line.
Yeah,
say.
it is.
I mean,
he has 5 catches on the season, which you're like, that doesn't seem like too much. But for the Ravens offense, it actually is. He's the leading pass catching running back.
What is that paced out to like? What's 8 times 5? I don't even know.
Yeah, you can't do this one.
So, 40 catches?
Yeah, 40
that's pretty
catches.
good.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's all right.
He had 16.9, so essentially 17 fantasy points in week 1.
Yeah.
And he only had 10.3 on Sunday night, but still 10 fantasy points. And he had a touchdown that was
called back.
It wasn't called back, but he reached for the goal line and fumbled, and then someone on his team picked it up and scored, so he didn't get the touchdown. Right, but he would have had pretty much 17 points back-to-back weeks, which is pretty good. And this week against Detroit seems like a great matchup. The only thing that concerns me with Tyson Williams is his snap percentage is at 50%, essentially, both weeks. So he's not like they do use Latavius Murray, and Devontae Freeman, who they signed, had I think 3 carries. So it's not like he's really getting used, but he's still involved. It's like when they had Mark Ingram, Dobbins, and Gus last year. It's kind of the same thing. But Tyson Williams is definitely the guy to play in that backfield. And this week against Detroit is a good matchup, so I'd start him. Yeah,
I would start Tyson Williams. I think that he has a good opportunity to put up mid-range RB2 numbers, maybe even high-end RB2 numbers. When is this game? Is it like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock?
It's a 1 o'clock game.
1 o'clock? I said 2 o'clock, but I meant 4 o'clock. Whatever.
2 o'clock football game.
Yeah, 2 o'clock football. Let's go. That would make my life miserable. People on the West Coast have to get up at like 10 on a Sunday.
First game starts at 10 a.m.
I think it's 11 actually. 11, 12, 1. No, you're right. It is 10 a.m. You have to get up in the morning to watch football. How painful.
The pregame start at like 5 a.m.
First world problems over here. Let's get to the wide receiver start of the week. Sterling Shepard versus Atlanta. Atlanta, poorest defense. Not very good. They've given up a lot of defensively. They've given up a lot of points and a lot of fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Kenny Gallaudet has been, I don't know, not good. Is that what you would say? I mean, I don't want to hate on a guy, but he has not been efficient. That's for sure. So far this year, he's gotten target share, but he's not scoring fantasy points.
No.
And then the other guy, Darius Slayton, who is probably on your waiver wire right now. That's not a bad low-end flex option if you need a start. I actually don't think that's a bad start. But the guy that we're telling you to start is Sterling Shepard. He was a waiver wire guy. I think he was the guy that everyone kind of thought was going to be the odd man out of this wide receiver core. I think a lot of people thought Slayton was going to be involved, and Tooney, and Kenny Gallaudet, and then you're going to have Evan Ingram, and the odd man out was going to be Sterling Shepard. But Shepard has been involved, and he's looked like their main target. He scored 20 fantasy points against Denver in week 1, 13 against Washington in week 2. He's had a total of 19 targets so far in the season, over 200 yards and 1 touchdown in 2 games. So I feel like this matchup against Atlanta is really, really good for him. And if he continues to get that target share, I don't see why he can't put up like 12 to 15 fantasy points.
That's the most impressive thing with Shepard is, I mean, we talked on the Thursday Night Football preview show about DJ Moore and how he has 18 targets through the first 2 weeks.
19 targets.
Yeah, Shepard has 19. That's a lot through 2 games, 19 targets. He's been the clear number 1 receiver on the team. He's the guy that Daniel Jones trusts the most. And against Atlanta, I mean, feels like this is a guaranteed game where he gets another like 7 to 8 catches. So he's a very good start, and a lot of people probably aren't thinking about starting him. He's still only rostered in 78% of leagues, which means there's 22% of leagues where he's not owned in.
Yeah.
You need to pick him up if he's available in your league, and probably start him this week.
Agreed. Let's talk about the tight end 5 in all of fantasy football, Noah Fant.
Yeah, bro.
He's our start of the week at tight end. I think we said start him last week. If he has another good game, I would say every week now.
Yeah.
But he had this week 8 targets in week 1, 6 targets this week. So it's clear they want to get him involved. He's been a red zone target for Teddy Bridgewater. So I definitely would start him. If he only gets 6 to 7 targets and doesn't produce at the level that you would want him to, I would, I mean, it is what it is. But against the New York Jets at home, I feel like this is a great start for Noah Fant. Now, tight ends are just confusing. So I feel like we're going to spend more of our time not hitting on the tight end position, but I like to make it easy on us. So it's like a good percentage for us to be able to, give you the right advice. But anyway, Noah Fant, I think is a great start this week. And if he has another really good game, I think he's just a consistent start on every week at this point.
Yeah, Noah Fant to me is one of my favorite tight ends, and the tight end position is so bad through 2 weeks. He's been better than George Kittle, which was like something. But he's the tight end at 5, and he's been good. And with Jerry Judy out for probably about like half the season, it looks like. I think his initial report was like 6 to 8 weeks with the high ankle sprain. These next few weeks, like Noah Fant should be getting about 10 fantasy points a week, and maybe even more at the tight end spot. He's the clear number 2 option in the offense, and he's a reliable guy. He's the third down guy. He's the red zone guy, so he could get a lot of touchdowns. And he's playing a good matchup against the Jets. This should be an easy one to start Noah Fant.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to our sits of the week and then lock up the show and prepare you for trade targets on Friday. So the sit of the week at the quarterback position is Jameis the Famous. Last week, I think he was a start.
And hey, to be fair, you're the one that wanted to start it last week.
Listen, suck
you gave me a whole segment of playing devil's advocate about it, and I was like, oh, the Panthers' defense isn't that bad. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Did we tell people to sit him or start him?
No, you told people to start him, and I didn't fight you hard enough on it. So
okay, fight me, bro.
No, it's okay.
No. You know what? I'm now offended.
To be fair, I didn't think he was going to be that bad. I just didn't think he was going to get like 20.
Yeah, no, he had not a good game. 2 interceptions.
He threw 111 yards.
111 yards. Not too far off from what he did the previous week. And now he gets New England. So this 34-point game against Green Bay, kind of in the rear view. He's at New England, in New England. And we saw what Bill Belichick did to Zach Wilson last week. And not that I'm saying
rookie quarterback.
Yeah, rookie quarterback. Winston's not going to make the same mistakes. But I feel like this is a very, very, very winnable game for New England and a very good matchup for the Patriots secondary. If they can get Jameis the Famous to turn the ball over a couple of times, they might even turn to Taysom, which would be interesting. But
that would even be worse if they did that.
I don't think he's going to score that many fantasy points. If you have him, I would sit him this week against New England and move forward with whoever else you got, because it would not be a smart start.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Winston's going to get kind of destroyed. I mean, I feel bad for him because I do think he's better than Taysom Hill.
I do. 100%.
I don't know how good he is, though, but he's without Michael Thomas. It's not like he's got a ton of weapons around him other than Alvin Kamara.
No, it's fair.
So, I mean, it's not great to put all the blame on him. I don't think it's right, but after last week against Carolina and what I think is going to happen this week against New England, it's going to start looking real rough for Winston.
Right. But he does have the Giants the following week. So
he could bounce back against the Giants.
Yeah, it could.
But yeah, New England's defense is top 10 in the league, maybe top 5. And it's in New England. It's going to be tough for Winston.
Agreed. Sit of the week at running back is Leonard Fournette at Los Angeles. Now, I think Fournette has taken the grips of this Buccaneers backfield. I think he took the grip of it in the postseason last year for playoff Lenny, to be honest with you. Week 1 he had 8. Week 2 he had 9. So his biggest problem so far this year has been a lack of punching it into the end zone.
Yeah.
But I think the Los Angeles Rams are one of the tougher run defenses in the NFL. I think Brady's going to have to. There might be an opportunity for Leonard Fournette to score a rushing touchdown, but Brady's most likely going to pass the ball a lot in this game. It's actually a hell of a good game, to be honest with you. Bucks at Los Angeles, two very good football teams. So this I could see not as a shootout, but this is going to be a game where they're going to have to throw the football a lot.
It's going to be a battle for sure.
I think that in a PPR sense, Leonard Fournette might not be a bad option because they've been using him a lot in the passing game. And so Brady might dump it off to him, but just what they've been doing to the running back position overall, I would sit him this week against Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened to Jonathan Taylor this week.
It
wasn't good. And I think their goal line defense is fantastic too. So unless Fournette gets like a big rushing touchdown, or a receiving touchdown, I don't think he scores. And on the ground, he's not going to, I don't think, be very good.
Right.
He will get some points because of his receiving work, like you said. But I mean, he had 8 in week 1, 9 in week 2, and a half PPR. I think he probably lands somewhere around like 7 this week. So it's not something that you're trying to start.
That is fair. Let's move on to the wide receiver sit of the week. It's Jalen Waddle at the Raiders. Now, this has nothing to do with matchup. Usually we sit here and we tell you this guy gives up this many fantasy points to this position. This is why you should not start this guy. This is why you should sit this guy, whatever. This has nothing to do with the Raiders' efficiency or non-efficiency at the against wide receivers. It's everything to do with the fact that Tua Tagovailoa might not just miss this week, but a long time.
Could miss an extended period of time. So this show's just for this week, but either way, they diagnosed Tua Tagovailoa with some broken ribs. Is that correct? Fractured ribs.
Ribs. Yeah. So he is out against the Las Vegas Raiders. I was going to say Los Angeles Raiders. That's not right. No. But anyway, so I feel like with Tua out and Jacoby Brissett going in, this doesn't mean good things for Jalen Waddle. This doesn't mean good things for Will Fuller. He comes back this week, correct?
Yep, Will Fuller's coming back.
And this doesn't mean good things for Devontae Parker and Myles Gaskin if you have them. So I would say really anybody in Miami is sittable this week. But Waddle is the guy that I'm going to say that you should sit this week. Because Waddle has had a good target share the first couple weeks of the season. He has had a decent target share the first couple weeks of the season. He had a good week 1, and he does provide touchdown upside because they like targeting him in the red zone and as a vertical threat. So, and I think this would typically be a good matchup for Waddle, where I'm like, okay, I really like this matchup. I want to start him, but without Tua Tagovailoa, I think that it spells bad things for the Miami Dolphins offense. I think they're going to probably try to run the football a lot in this game, and it's not going to mean he probably will not get over 5 targets this week, is what my guess would be. 5 or 6 targets, which if he's not getting the opportunity, then he's not going to be scoring. Last week he only scored 5 points against Buffalo. So I don't think his success that he had against New England, I don't think that continues against Las Vegas. I think that it's a tough week for Jalen Waddle without his quarterback, and you should sit him.
Even if he gets like 5-6 targets, I don't think he does anything with it. Jacoby Brissett, that offense was so brutal when he took over for the game, in the game for Tua. They did not score a single point. They barely moved the ball. Waddle actually looked okay, but he still only scored 5 fantasy points. He did lose a fumble, so it would have been 7.8 fantasy points.
Right.
And that's if he gets if he gets 8 targets again, which Will Fuller coming back, I don't think he does. So I don't think Jalen Waddle is going to do anything. And it has nothing to do with Waddle. I actually think he's been pretty good this season for a rookie wide receiver. With Jacoby Brissett back there and Will Fuller coming back, it's just not going to be good for Waddle this week, I don't think.
I agree. As usual, see, every single one I agree on because we agree before the show.
Yeah, we decided this before the show.
But anyway, the final one really quickly is tight end Hunter Henry. I actually think this guy is droppable in some formats.
Yeah, I do too.
I feel like at this point, I love Mac Jones. I love the New England Patriots. I think they They have a lot of good things going for them, but it's clear that New England does not want to take many risks.
It's like the exact same thing as last year, to be honest. Yeah. Passing wise. For fantasy perspective.
From a fantasy perspective. From a real football perspective, it's not as vanilla.
No, it's definitely a little better. It's definitely better.
There are situations where they don't want to throw the ball down the field, and you see that you see the stark contrast here really quickly when the Pats played the Jets. Right, the Jets just let, and I think this is also on Wilson too. But the Jets just let Wilson do what he wanted to do and throw the ball down the field, and it led to 4 picks against one of the hardest.
It is on
defenses
Wilson,
in the
but it's like that's also very much on the Jets for just being like, oh yeah, here rookie play like you did in college and just do whatever you want out there.
Robert
game against New England.
Robert Saleh after the game came out and said that he thinks that what the Patriots did was smart, and he said at some point Zach has got to learn that. Boring football, literally said boring football is good football. You know what I mean?
Do you think anyone has told him that since he's gotten there?
I have no idea. I would say Robert Saleh.
I would say no.
He just did in a press conference, I guess. I hope that's not the first time.
This week.
But I think he saw what the Patriots did with Mac Jones, and they were like, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, that's how you do it? Okay. But it's embarrassing. You get this quarterback with the second overall pick, and you let Mac Jones slide, and then Jones goes out and has not a perfect game, but doesn't throw a pick. You get crushed almost by the team that you're supposed to be catching up to in the division. It just was bad for the Jets. But either way, how does that relate to Hunter Henry? The Patriots are not going to throw the ball down the field. They're going to play it safe. They're going to play boring football, at least for the first 5 to 6 weeks of the season, probably more. And they're not going to throw the ball in risky spots. They're trying to get the ball to players. Like every time they get in the red zone, they don't throw it, which is where I think Hunter Henry would have the most success. But they don't do that. So Hunter Henry versus New Orleans is a tough matchup this week at home. I would not start him. I don't think he's going to get many opportunities. I don't think he's going to score a touchdown. And I do believe he's droppable in all formats. Mostly all formats.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think there's going to be some weeks where he plays well because he will get a touchdown here and there, but he's not going to be that great. Even Jonnu, who we liked both guys, but Jonnu hasn't really done anything.
He's getting more targets, which is good.
By a single target. Jonnu gets 5 a game. Hunter Henry gets 4 a game.
It looks like they're trying to get Jonnu more involved than Hunter Henry. Whereas, that's fair. The big up the middle plays that Mac Jones does.
If I had to pick one, I would still. At this point, it feels like it's Jonnu. But even Jonnu is I don't want to say he's droppable, but he's. I don't know if I would say he's definitely not startable.
He's definitely not startable. Don't start him this week.
Yeah.
Sorry. I hit the button early.
No, that's okay. You don't want to start Hunter Henry against the Saints when it's going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, there are your starts and sits for week 3. Hopefully you enjoy your weekend, enjoy your football. We'll see you for trade targets tomorrow, guys.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.